Hello, my name is Rich Wagner. I'm the Deputy Mayor for the City of Auburn, and I'm here with Sydney Campbell, one of the members of our new Junior City Council. How are you, Sydney?
I'm good. How are you?
Why don't you tell us about yourself and why you want to be on this Junior City Council?
Well, I go to Auburn Riverside, and I'm a freshman there. I like to play volleyball, and I've lived in Auburn since second grade. And I really wanted to be on the Junior City Council so that I could be a part of Auburn and to help make differences where they need to be and not just stand by.
So do you have some issues that you're particularly interested in about that you may want to contribute to?
I think that it would be really cool to have a place that the students could go if they're feeling like a hard time at home, where they could go to be safe or to have fun and just talk about things that they need help with.
Oh, I hadn't heard that idea from you before. Do you think it should be an overnight sort of thing?
Oh no, I think that it'll take time, but I think that it would be worth it to have that for students.
So they could drop in for an hour or two and talk to somebody about their problems, maybe get some solutions, maybe not, maybe just talk about it.
Yeah.
And probably have some other people their age to hang out with who are sometimes more sympathetic than us old folks. Good. Well, I think that's a great idea. Have you heard from other people or other young people your age in the city who are aware of the new Junior City Council and may have some ideas for us too?
I haven't had a chance to talk to anyone about it, but I think that they would think the new teen center is a really good idea and a really fun thing, and I can go out and ask people what they think, and I'll bring it back to the Junior City Council.
I think having the Junior City Council will be an advantage in us asking for grants related to youth activities. Because when you go to grant writing agencies, they want to know that you're serving the need that is being addressed by the grant. And so if you're asking for a grant to do something with respect to for the city to finish off the teen center, having the Junior City Council's input and participation in that will help us work towards grants. Well, anything else you want to say before you start interviewing me?
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay, thanks, Sydney.
Thank you. How did you become the deputy mayor, and what does the deputy mayor do?
The deputy mayor is selected by the city council from among their own members. So there are 7 city council members, and each year they consider who they would like to have serve as a deputy mayor. Because the deputy mayor is the person who, if the mayor is unable to serve, has to take over running this city and in all of the departments and is the chief operating officer of the city. So the council carefully chooses somebody to take that role. The other thing that the deputy mayor does is fill in for the mayor at public events when the mayor is busy with something else. And so that takes up a fair amount of time. There are also other duties assigned to the deputy mayor, such as encouraging personal development among the council members, training opportunities, maintaining relations between the mayor and the council. There's a number of things listed in the ordinance about the deputy mayor, about what you're supposed to do. And since I've only been that role for a couple of months, I'm still beginning to do some of those things.
It seems like a lot of work for one person to do. So you've been on the council for a long time. What keeps you coming back and coming back?
I find it very satisfying, both intellectually and from a feelings point of view, that I really believe in community development. I think that's been in community in general, and just as a recent example, the Seahawks parade yesterday is one of the best community events I've seen in a long time. You know, here were 700,000 people getting along, and you know, that's what we've got to do. We've got to get along, we've got to work together. And so that keeps bringing me back. But as I said, it's also intellectually stimulating. The city is a big business. We have an airport, a cemetery, lots of parks, all kinds of things that have to have a business mind to make them operate in the way that they should, both at a reasonable price and in a way to serve what they're supposed to do. So it's those two things, community development and intellectual stimulation around business that I do. I'm a retired engineer, by the way, and so for years I was the chairman of the Public Works Committee, so that I could get all involved in all the technical aspects of the city's public works projects. And so that is a role that I won't have quite as strongly now that I'm a deputy mayor. I won't be chairman of the Public Works Committee, but the opportunity to extend my engineering career was also another reason that I keep coming back to the council.
Well, it seems like you've done a lot for Auburn. So what would be the thing that you've done that you're most proud of?
I always have a hard time picking a thing, you know. Again, I'm going to go back to another Seahawks example. You know, they asked people yesterday, who's the best? They said, everybody's the best. Even the 12th man is the best. You know, it's a big picture, and that's something that I try to bring to my council job, is that while you do have to get involved and look at details to get certain things done, the way those certain things interact with everything else is the thing that interests me the most. One recent example that I have, that's really pretty darn recent, is the M Street underpass to let us get traffic through Auburn without being stopped by mile-long trains. But that's an example of a project that to me fulfilled all three of these things that I was interested in. One is that it was a great engineering project. Another is that it took a long time to get it done, to find the funding. I almost killed that project a couple times because I thought that our citizens were having to pay too much compared to the railroad and the federal government and the state government, but we finally came to what we felt was a fair apportionment of those costs. But it's also a community development thing. It gets people through the city and around the city, and we're a commuter pass-through city. So we have to not only take care of our own vehicles, we have to take care of thousands and thousands of vehicles that come from elsewhere. And the M Street underpass does that.
And one last thing, Mr. Wagner. How long have you lived in Auburn, and when you're not being the deputy city mayor, what do you like to do in your free time?
I moved to Auburn in the beginning because I wanted a large piece of land compared to what I could have in Bellevue, which is where I was living before, and Mercer Island. I lived up in that Seattle area. I wanted a larger piece of land, and Auburn had an area out in the southeast corner, 400 acres, that had just been subdivided into 5-acre parcels, which was rather unusual to be within the city limits and have that large piece of property. So I did buy that, and then became very interested in city government so that I could protect that and not have it be subdivided immediately into small lots. So I got involved in that, and the other thing you'll find if you look into my background is that I build a lot of things. I build carts for this and that. I build kids' toys. The other thing, the thing I do, as I think about it, is I do a little bit of art, a little bit of sculpture. And I have a strong interest in art. I'm the City Council's representative to the Arts Commission, so that I get a chance to actually participate in that from a city point of view. Art as a city support has to be held within reasonable economic bounds. So we can't go out and buy $1 million pieces of art, but we can invest a few tens of thousands each year so that the city citizens have that stimulation and good feelings that come from interacting with art. So I do a little bit of that in my spare time too. Longer answer than you probably expected.
It's very interesting. Would you like to add anything else?
Well, again, I want to reiterate that I'm really pleased that the Junior City Council has been formed, and when we went through earlier this year and actually wrote all the rules and the laws and the ordinances around it, it naturally tended to emphasize that the Junior City Council would advise us on things related to youth. And that's good. We do expect that, the city, we meaning the city and the City Council. But I also wanted to make the point that I believe young people like you have things to offer far beyond what directly affects youth. We talked a lot about the youth center, for sure that affects it, but I think the taxation rate in the city. You know, you have to be interested in that just because it indirectly affects youth. You know, if you spend all your money on roads, you may not have any left for the youth center. If you spend all your money on the youth center, you may not have any for the road. So, you know, that's an example of youth advice that will probably be different than what all of us who are deeply involved in it think about it. So I'm looking for advice from the Junior City Council on a broad spectrum, not just limited to what, quote, affects youth.
Well, thank you for talking to me today. It was fun.
Yeah, it's fun for me too, Sydney.